And let's go to the top end. I think you've saved the best for last, and this is the real. This is it's certainly not the most obvious complication, but
I mean, we're all familiar with clocks that chime the hours and the quarter hours, etc. Church clocks, the Westminster Tower and Big Ben and all that, and your maybe mantle clocks and all those other things, carriage clocks, etc. To get that into a watch was obviously quite a thing, because you've got to make noise somehow, and it's how you miniaturize all of that in order to produce sound that tells the time. Probably starts with a chap called Daniel Quare in 1687, who kind of had some ideas about how to do it. But I know we've mentioned Patek a lot, but one of the key guys in watchmaking history was Abraham Louis Breguet. I think in 1820, he kind of perfected the way that is most commonly used, or the design that's most commonly used even today, of how to make sound in a watch. And it's little hammers hitting gongs inside a watch case, activated most commonly by a slider on the side of the case. So you push the slider, and the sound is then the sound indicates what the time is. I'm probably going to have to do the embarrassing thing about doing dings and dongs on a video, but effectively, you push the slider, and imagine the time was 3:35. You would have dong, dong, dong for the 3 hours, and then for the quarter hours, of which there would be 2 if it was 30 minutes past, you'd get ding dong, and then you'd get the minutes, ding, 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 ding. So you'd get three dongs, 2 ding dongs, and then ding, 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 ding for the 5 minutes, and that would be 3:35.
Okay, so there's each area has a slightly different sound, so you can identify specifically the time without visual representation.
Yeah, and that's a minute repeater.
A grandfather clock essentially shrunk down into a wristwatch.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
in some respects.
I mean, there's lots of ways. A minute repeater is the most, I say, common. It's an uncommon complication when you think. I think for a Patek it takes about 300 hours to assemble a minute repeater. Then it has to be submitted to Mr. Stern at Patek, who if he doesn't think it sounds quite right, will send it back and say, can you have another go, or tweak things. So that's the level of expertise and care they take. And other brands are like that as well.
I'm so pleased as my boss you don't expect that from me, because everything will come back with sub-satisfactory. That's incredible though, that there is that the watchmaker themselves will have there will be so few people capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
But the level that it goes through in the rigorous checks to make sure that the end client is going to be completely happy with it.
Yeah.
It's not quite a utilitarian timepiece, whereas a GMT is.
Yes.
Because it's the sort of the epitome of haute horology, I'd imagine. And again, that sort of extreme of what brands can do.
I mean, principally developed in order to tell the time when it was dark. Principally, electric light hasn't been around in many ways that long, and if you want to know what the time was in the middle of the night and you're extremely wealthy, then you could press your button and count the hours, count the minutes, and it's also the ability of people to afford such a thing, and brands expressing their expertise in watchmaking in order to provide that level of service and that level of expertise for people who've got, well, these days heading towards £1 million for such incredible complications.
Yeah.